right, good afternoon. This is it was a heck of a day today. Um, we had a big gap down on all the indexes, gold. Um, we had CPI come out 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, and the numbers were quote unquote hot, higher than expected. Um, so not good for deflationary uh, environment. And we had the market gap down quite a bit, so it's not showing my. All right, so here's our overnight session, and you can pretty much guess where CPI was released. We had a big dump right away, 20 handles or something, and then we just kept selling off up until the open. And we opened up below our gap. That was around true gap. Let's see. True gap around 42 handles. And this is where the fun began. So we one time frame down in B period. And then we one time framed up in C period. We took the IB. And then we actually closed this gap. So this is a gap that's been sitting on the price map. That's gone. But now we have this nice giant map here, or this giant gap here that I'll tighten this up here in a little bit, but this is about what we're looking at. Nice giant gap going forward. So then after we close that gap, we kind of lost our momentum. We had one time frame down, and then I was done at this point. I had to step away. I was having a rough day. My trades were extremely frustrating because we had some volatility, and I would get in a trade, and I had several trades. I took 4 trades in the overnight after CPI. And first trade was a really nice trade, and it was small size. And then I had a couple dings. And then I got another decent trade that I should have let run, but I took it at break even. And if I would have left my original stop, it would have kept running all day. So, but then whenever this opened up, I just couldn't get on the right side of the market. And every time, I'd take a couple dings on a trade, and then I'd get a better entry because the entries just weren't, when you have OTF coming to the market, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. When you have OTF coming to the market, you have other time frame players. You have, we haven't had much volume. We've had people, in my opinion, we've had people sitting on the sidelines. We've been making all-time highs, but I think a lot of those people were already out of the market. We had year end. A lot of people probably were flattish going into it, flattish after it, and weren't wanting to buy all-time highs, right? So I think we had a lot of money sitting on the sidelines. And then this happens, CPI comes in. It is a surprise, comes in hotter than expected. We have a bunch of different people in the market. And when you have OTF, references don't matter. You don't have JP Morgan sitting there like, oh, that's the open, oh, that's previous high day from, T2 high day. They don't care. And so I had several trades that were nice trades, but they would literally get within a tick or tick my take profit and turn around. And I was being very stubborn with leaving my stops in the market, leave my limit orders in the market. Anyway, it's just me. It was just a rough day. I just couldn't read the market well. So I was gone at this point. We filled that gap. And I came back. I did catch this break below the put wall and everything. But I took, left my orders in there this time. I shouldn't have, maybe, on my runner anyway. And so I was out pretty quick, like 8 points on that one. And moved all the way down. This is the only level I had on my charts today, and that's because it's the weekly previous week low, and that's where we one time frame down on a weekly. And never saw this or anything. I would have traded it, I guarantee you. That's why it was there. But the point being, we had a strong move down after we took the IB high, we took the IB low, strong move down. We ticked below. They didn't even front run it, which is what I would have expected. They ticked below the previous week low and then shot up 30 handles after that. More than 30 handles. So a crazy move today. So, what happens? Are we bullish because we shot up 30 something handles into the close? Are we bearish because we gapped down, 50 points and 60 points and took out the previous week's low? Well, like I said, we had a lot of OTF in the market, and we can kind of look at our delta, and where did we close delta out at? Zero, essentially zero. So net selling on very large lots, net buying 4,000 lots on large lots, and I mean look at this V reversal here. So I don't know. We had a lot of trading throughout the day. We had a lot of extension and reversion throughout the day. So we can watch this tomorrow and see. That's actually RTY, but ES looks very similar. Let me load up ES here. Take a sip of my beer. What am I? No, that was ES. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a delta on ES. So want to go to our weekly though, our daily. And so this is our weekly chart, and you can see where we took out the close of the previous week. That's our daily chart. So around this 49.70 level. So we're in balance now. And what I want to see is we see where these closes are at. That's the area I'm going to be watching for continuation. I want to see if we can one time frame down tomorrow. That's going to be the signal for me that I want to be short this market. And this move right here is not that unexpected. We've seen this a lot where we have a big gap down and we move up all day, and then a big gap down, we move up all day, and that can happen 5-10 days in a row, literally. But on the other hand of that, if we look at the daily chart here, how many times have we had a giant move down, taking out a weekly bar, and then just move straight up? Giant move down, moved up 5 days in a row. So we don't know what's going to happen. It's another one, move down, and then weeks of one time framing up. So it's hard to really say at this point. We're still very short delta on the high time frame. We basically set a balance, and we're just going to watch this for continuation. So what has the market done? So the market's moved down, taking out a lot of downside references, left a giant gap, which is essentially an excess. If we were to draw this out like we have over here on the overnight, then we have a liquidation profile with elongation, which is a mix of old business and new business. What were we unable to do? We weren't able to take out these singles. We weren't able to fill any more of this gap, which is very bearish. And so tomorrow, going into the session, we really just need to watch the edges of this profile and see if we're going to one time frame up or if we're going to one time frame down. Until then, we're going to be essentially in balance, right? So let's see, what other notes do I have today? I do want to look at Russell. They really gave it up today. We had a nice move up, closed up above our balance, and then just killed it today. look at crude. I think we moved a little higher towards the top of our balance. Did they look gold? So I like gold. We closed down below our balance. So I'm going to be watching gold for continuation down tomorrow as well. I like this gold chart a lot. Look at Bitcoin. Another neutral book in the day. Crazy. All right, so Bitcoin is kind of balanced out today. As far as earnings go tomorrow, I don't think we really have much. AM, CME Group, Heineken, Kraft Heinz, nothing really. PM, Cisco, Oxy, Energy Transfer, not much. So the only thing I'll really take away from the earnings and the other markets is, the Russell got hammered today. It was down 4%, and a lot of that was attributed to the regional bank shares, which we've had, cracks in the foundation as far as banking goes overseas, and generally we would expect to see that here as well. We have a better economy here in the U.S., but it's something that I've been keeping my eye on for at least a week, if not a couple weeks. That's just been seeing increasingly bearish numbers on commercial real estate, office space, and obviously that relates to banking as well. 10 of the 11 S&P sectors were down at least 1%. Real estate in sector was down 1.8%. Utilities 1.7%. Other than that, we're still up on the year on everything, except for the mid cap and RTY. Our VWAP grid on ES. So on our monthly and weekly, look pretty horrible. So we'll take a look. We'll look at the overnight, and hopefully the overnight will give us position for at least a good trade into the open. Might have some continuation or not, but if not, then we'll just monitor for continuation down or maintain imbalance. So we'll see y'all in the AM.